Welcome back to the Black Hills and Eastern Railroad, everybody. Today we are celebrating freedom and liberty and the birthday of this great nation by taking a look at these two pieces of HO scale model railroad equipment representing historic pieces from the Burlington Northern Railroad. The HO scale models we are looking at today are an SD40-2 representing the Burlington Northern 1876, an engine which was painted for the nation's bicentennial in 1976, and a Wide Vision Caboose, which was numbered 12816, which was painted to commemorate the reservists and people being called up to war in 1991 for the Operation Desert Storm. These two pieces of equipment never locked couplers as they were painted in this picture, but it's fun to imagine, and they're the only real pieces of patriotic type equipment that I have on my roster. We see the crew of the 1876 putting together a small grain train in Sioux City, Iowa on my Black Hills and Eastern HO scale model railroad. The crew has coupled onto the caboose and pulls it up the yard ladder on the north end of the Sioux City yard. Then they cut the caboose off from the engine so it can be tacked onto the end of the train. The crew then backs the engine up to couple up to a short string of covered hopper cars bound for points north. Boom. Let's go back into the shop and take a closer look at the HO scale Atlas model that is this Freedom Caboose. So taking a little closer look at this Atlas red box caboose, this is a Wide Vision model, and this does come in kit form. This is approximately a 20-year-old release or so. I did put this together for Black Hills and Eastern episodes here the last couple of weeks. The first one I did is the electrical pickups from the wheels. So we are picking up power, we are picking up current on all 8 wheels underneath the caboose here, and sending 2 LEDs in the end cages here on both ends of the car. This car does come in kit form, or did come in kit form as released, in meaning that all the grab irons here that are in yellow, showed in yellow, are modular installed. You have to drill them out and paint them and place them and glue them in, as are the end cages here, which are plastic, and those are molded in color from the factory. So that does make this a kit. I guess you could kind of consider it ready to run, but if you wanted to run it without the grab irons, but probably most people are going to want that stuff painted up and installed. So then taking a close look at the car itself, I believe this is a Reading prototype. This car itself that Atlas has used for many, many, many different road names, both Western and Eastern. Of course, Reading is a venerable prototype from the east side of the country here, but we're in Burlington Northern, and there are some differences between this car and the real thing as pictured here. Then taking a look at the actual model itself, I've been told that this Atlas release here is of Reading prototype, so that's henceforth the little shorter cupola. And I do believe that the more modern Burlington Northern cabooses, where it had a shorter cupola too, from the railhead up to the bottom of the cupola, was fairly short. I believe about 8 feet. So not that tall really, but I believe this is a Reading prototype. It does not match a couple of things, and we'll go into specific detail on this. The window arrangement does not match the prototype, and there is another slight deficiency. If you're a Burlington Northern Caboose person, you'll notice that these rectangular windows should be rounded squares. Here we see the train coming through the C&W yard, also in Sioux City. So any talk on resources on Burlington Northern's cabooses would be remiss if it didn't mention Robert C. Del Grosso in his Caboose Books. He's had a number of books published, both on the Burlington Northern cabooses and motive power. A great resource, and a family member of his reached out to me here several weeks ago on the channel and inquired whether I'd had a chance to review any of the books. And I've had this caboose book in my collection here for quite a while. Basically since it came out, and I've also had the older book in my collection as well. That caboose book, I believe, is only black and white. But this Caboose book is of particular note because it just happens to feature this caboose as painted on its cover. And it gives us a chance to take a look at some of the oddities, or maybe some of the differences between the Atlas model and the real thing. So keep in mind that there was only one of these painted. This was painted for Desert Storm in 1991, and it doesn't show any windows on the side here on the lower portion of the caboose. There was one group or several groups of very late Burlington Northern cabooses that were manufactured without any side windows. That was a reaction to FRA. Either these windows had to be bulletproof glass, or the railroad could just choose to plate them over, and that's what they did in many cases. That's what you see most commonly, but there were a few of these Burlington Northern cabooses manufactured without any side windows at all. And that's what we see here, is no side windows, and of course this Atlas model is showing these three windows on both sides. Also, the smoke jack placement and color is incorrect on the Atlas model, as is the end cages. They're slightly different. They are the right color. At least this plastic was molded in yellow and red from the factory, and the grab irons, of course, those were wire grab irons, so those are modeler painted, and those are the correct colors, of course. I did note that we're missing those safety stop decals down here in the corner. I could add those. Otherwise, it looks like the car is mostly correct. And of course, as I noted before, the cupola windows on the front and back of the car, these, as typical Burlington Northern cabooses, you've got your rounded square here on all four of those positions, and this car is the typical Atlas. I would call that probably just a plain old rectangle type window there. So no huge deal on that. This is still a pretty good car, and it's held up well over the years. I still enjoy having many of these on my roster, but I do recognize that there are more modern cars. The Tangent cars are gorgeous, and I'll get those out of the box and show you those at some point in the very near future here. Let's go back out to the layout now and take a final look at this little short grain train running with the Burlington Northern SD40-2 1876 and this Burlington Northern Wide Vision Caboose 12816. Then we see the train heading northward over Meadowlark Tower and towards the camera location. So it's time once again to pull the pin on this particular episode. The point here is to, from my family to yours, to wishing you a safe and happy Independence Day holiday. Happy birthday, America. I hope you've enjoyed the content on this particular episode. If you did, smash that like button. Leave us a comment. Tell us about your patriotic HO scale or any other scale projects in model railroading. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Boom.